mites, bees, mosquitoes, beetles, ladybugs, larvae, spiders, and a giant koi fish. Also, there's a crow flying around, but it doesn't seem to do much yet. But there's all sorts of creatures in Grounded that are always out there trying to get you. And according to the suggestions in the Grounded Discord, people want more. More creatures. Let's go. What up, it's Tiny Pirate Gaming, and in this video I'll be going over 10 creature suggestions for Grounded that come from the Grounded community. If you're interested in adding your suggestions for potential new features in Grounded, well then you should join the Grounded Discord where all of these suggestions come from, and if you like some of these suggestions you can upvote them over there and they might get added into the game. A lot of the suggestions that the community's already come up with have been added to the game, and that's really cool. And if you think that's really cool, you could do me a huge favor and gently touch the like button. I really appreciate it. And if you enjoy Grounded-related Grounded-themed content, well, you've come to the right channel because that's pretty much all that I do here. So, I hope this video earns your subscription today. Number 10.
We had an idea to add butterflies and use the wings as gliders. We thought it was a cool idea. Or we could be able to ride butterflies.
You can find butterflies on flowers during the day, which are small and pretty easy to kill and provide gliders that are more durable than the dandelion tufts. And at night around the lamps, you can find moths, which are flying and require spear throwing or arrows to kill.
Butterflies. People want the butterflies. They think butterflies would be cool. And whenever people seem to think about butterflies, they think about new gliders. And that's probably because the dandelion tuft stinks. It can barely be classified as a glider. It's more like an umbrella. An umbrella that you float down to the ground with like Mary frickin' Poppins. Okay, and that's no fun. I want to glide. I want to be able to glide out across the yard. It would be really fun. And if butterfly wings is the way to do it, then give us butterflies. Or, as mentioned in the suggestions, rideable creatures. If we ever get mountable creatures, I think a butterfly would be the fun creature to fly around the backyard. Plus the aesthetic of the butterflies floating around in the backyard would be a lot of fun. A lot of fun and Grounded. It would make it very exciting, very interesting. If you think that's a great idea, go upvote it on the Grounded Discord. Number 9.
Maybe look into adding crickets into the game and have a set of cricket armor that has set bonus for additional jump height for scouting and evading. Crickets would be pretty massive and hard to catch though.
This is a well-written suggestion. It's very short, it's very sweet, and it gets directly to the point. They want crickets. They want crickets that give you cricket armor, and they want the cricket armor to make you jump higher. Perfect. I love it. I think it's great. I want crickets. I want armor. I want to jump higher. I want to double jump. I want to wall jump. I want to swing around on a grappling hook. One of those options I would very much enjoy. And crickets, I think, would fit in Grounded because crickets are everywhere. There's nowhere that you can't find crickets. Crickets are freaking all over the place, so there's no reason why this backyard doesn't have any crickets in it. Number 8. Make the koi fish just a touch deadlier. His attacks are really inaccurate and too easy to avoid. Also, add a whirlpool effect when he tries to eat you. Now, if you've ever tuned into one of my live streams over on Twitch, then you know that there's no deadlier creature in the backyard except for Tiny Pirate. But there is one creature that still strikes fear into even my heart, and that is the koi fish. Whenever I go into the pond, I avoid the pond because I'm scared of the koi fish. The koi fish is freaky. It swims up behind you. It does that little sucking sound. And if they created a way to make it even more deadlier, this game would just go up a notch in survivability. Because to be quite honest with everybody, there's nothing in the backyard that threatens Tiny Pirate. Now, I've been playing the game for a long time, so that's understandable. But I would like to see more interactions with the koi fish, particularly when it attacks the player, as if the player were a delicious treat for it swimming across the pond. Number 7.
Ant lions would be a great feature. You could fall into their holes and you could get killed or kill the ant lion.
Now, I'm not saying it's got to be ant lions, but I like this suggestion because I want to see creatures from under the ground attack the player. I thought when the larvae were going to be given the dig effect like the grub have, they were going to lunge out of the ground and attack the player. Now, maybe that's going to happen in the future, but I would like to see some sort of creature in the backyard that either burrows traps underground that the player can fall into, or lunges at players from underneath the ground unsuspectingly.
Number 6.
At least one species of friendly spider. Maybe a jumping spider?
Daddy Longlegs.
A spider that buries into the ground, and as soon as you come near it, it jumps out.
That is known as a trapdoor spider, and I think it would be awesome. It would be super amazing, and it would fulfill the thing that I want about a spider or a creature underneath the ground that attacks the player. It would be super awesome to have a trapdoor spider. A daddy longlegs would be an amazing boss fight, like a super epic boss fight at some point in Grounded, I think. And at least one species of friendly spider. I say no, but I do say yes to the jumping spider. Quite frankly, because jumping spider would be cool, and I don't think spiders are going to be very friendly. I mean, finding a friendly spider is like finding Casper the Friendly Ghost. It's probably not going to happen. If there's a ghost out there, it's probably a bad ghost, and you better call the Ghostbusters.
Number 5.
Alongside the crow that perches in various parts of the yard, maybe there could be a squirrel in the oak tree. It could forage in the upper parts of the tree, occasionally dropping whole acorns or acorns parts as it forages.
I think a giant Godzilla-sized squirrel running around the backyard, foraging in the tree for acorns, and occasionally dropping additional acorns around the yard for the player to collect would be really fun. It would also create a new hazard in the backyard, very similar to the koi fish, some sort of environmental hazard that you, the player, cannot defeat and is unpredictable. Be very cool, be very exciting, be very fun.
Number 4.
Frogs and frog armor, giving you higher jump capabilities. The more armor, the higher the jump, with a cap at bounce web height. I don't know if this already exists, but maybe small baby frogs?
There should be a frog in the flooded area.
A frog, it makes sense. There's tadpoles, there should be a frog. I don't care if it's little baby frogs that we can fight and get little armor from, or it's a giant frog that's like the koi fish and we can't fight it and it's scary and it's terrifying. I think a frog is a no-brainer considering that there's already tadpoles in the game. Why would there be tadpoles if there's not a frog? Where's the frog? There's got to be a frog.
Number 3. More variations of current arthropods. Maybe a second kind of ant that is warring with the current ant, and maybe the two different types of ant armor will have different buffs. Maybe we don't need more spiders, but it will be nice to have another beetle, and the winged beetles, ladybug and stinkbug should drop ingredients to a new glider.
An addition of milfoil weevils and other passives into the pond would be nice.
I would like to suggest that the active anthill treasuries have beefed up guardian ants that will aggro if you take anything from within, even while wearing full ant armor. But of course, if you manage to get past the guards, a myriad of rare materials and food items are yours for the taking.
Now these are just a few that I took to demonstrate that the community is filled with tons of ideas for new creatures in the backyard, and that's what people want. The suggestion is more bugs, more creatures, enemy creatures, passive creatures, pet creatures, mini-boss sorts of guardian ants, stuff like that. Mini-bosses that guard over treasure loot that the player can discover, whether it be food bits gathered by tons of bugs, or whether it be something connected to the story quest. You place one of these stronger creatures in front of it and bam, you got yourself some mini-boss. That's what I'm talking about. More ideas. It'll be lots of fun. It'll be amazing. If you want more bugs, let me know in the comments which bugs you would like to see in the backyard.
Number 2. Shooting the bed causes it to briefly attack you. And it also drops a feather.
Make the collision from the crow actually destroy structures, not just clip through them.
For any potential animal bosses, enemies, or other creatures which would be too gory to have slaughtered, permit you to injure but not kill them, similar to how ants and larvae will flee if they take too much damage and leave behind certain objects, for tufts, skin molts, etc., without noticeable damage, save for a scar or two, like Trudy. This could be potentially timed where they'd scamper off and come back later, making your time spent before their return previous and finite.
Shooting the crow with an arrow causes it to fly away. It sometimes drops a feather.
Crow interactions. A lot of people want more interactions with the crow. They specifically want to be able to knock off feathers. And just like I mentioned before, koi interaction, if we're going to be able to knock feathers off of the crow, at some point we should also be able to knock scales off of the fish and any other large creatures that get added into the game. Now, my suggestion for the large creatures isn't to have a way to fight them in a way to scare them off or to defeat them, but more so in a way that the fish is already geared, which is it is a huge environmental threat for the player that the player can't really compete with. It's just a large scale threat that you always have to be aware of no matter where you are in the yard. There should be an equally large threat on the surface level. That could be the crow. It lands at certain parts of the yard. If you're gliding, maybe it snatches you out of the air. Something like that. And if you add more creatures to the backyard, they in turn would have their own deadly environmental mechanic tied into their existence, along with some sort of resource that they drop that allows you to get very high tier armor.
Number 1.
Turtle Expedition Line. What could be more fun than an adorable turtle you can hitch a ride on? With a set route through the entire backyard, you can lure this friendly fellow to your base with a special structure and some bait. While he's parked, hop on a shell and take a nap, waking up in a totally new part of the yard.
I think adding a turtle would be awesome in Grounded. Now, I am biased because I have an Eastern box turtle. That is my pet. His name is King Bowser. He's super awesome. You're seeing footage of him right now, but I think a turtle, particularly a box turtle, would be an excellent addition into the backyard. Box turtles usually hunt small insects. It could be a large-scale threat because it would be rather large compared to the player. It would be very much like the koi fish or the crow. It would be this huge environmental threat that could pose a danger to the player that they cannot compete with. And I think the crow should hunt flying creatures, the fish should hunt water creatures, and if you add a box turtle or some other sort of land creature that would hunt insects into the game, these would not only pose as threats to the insects, but also threats to the player because the player would be mistaken by these creatures as an insect. For example, if a player is gliding off of a large tower and the crow spots them, the crow could fly in and snatch up its dinner. If the turtle is wandering around and happens to catch the player while they're out collecting clay, bam, dinner. If you're in the pond already swimming around and not paying attention, you might already end up as dinner for the fish. So I think large-scale environmental threats like this would be fun additions into the game, and I particularly am fond of the turtles, particularly the Eastern box turtle, which I think would be a perfect addition into the game. If you enjoyed this video, you could do me a huge favor and gently touch that like button. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see any of these suggestions or liked any of these suggestions, don't forget to join the Grounded Discord where you can upvote suggestions for Grounded and they will then be presented to the game development team, and maybe they'll end up in the game. A bunch of suggestions have already made it into the game. Grounded is a huge community-driven game. It's very fun. It's very exciting. And if you like that, well, then you've come to the right channel because Grounded-related, Grounded-themed content is pretty much all that I do here. So if you want to see more of that, well, I hope this video earned your subscription today. And if it did, don't forget to ring that little bell so you become part of the hashtag Tiny Crew, so you'll always be notified whenever I upload a new video here on Tiny Power Gaming. Also, I live stream over on Twitch, so if you ever want to come hang out with me live, well, gently touch my follow button over there and ring my little bell so you'll be notified every time I go live. And if you want to keep up with channel news, you can join the Tiny Power Gaming Discord or follow me on Twitter. Both places I announce channel news. On the Twitter, I sometimes upload random video gaming clips from not only Grounded, but from some other games that I play. So if you like any of that, I hope you will follow me there, follow me here, follow me all over the place. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.
Arg, matey, watch your step. There be a tiny pirate here.